All wars were, are, and will be cultural. Thankfully, we increasingly wage these battles in a mental arena with words and ideas. So I have this series here where I do these little snippets of things that I post on social media platforms that have limited characters, so it challenges me to get these ideas into a small bite-size version, and then I expand on them in the comment sections when I post them or in these audio versions of these posts. So here we go. For this one, there's a general thing where in the United States of America, the Anglosphere in the West, and just in news in general, there is this discussion of ongoing culture wars. And I was thinking about that term, cultural wars. But what wars are not cultural? When I was thinking about it, I thought, no, pretty much all wars are cultural. What differs is the arenas that the wars are fought on, the kind of weapons and things that you're going to use in this, the spheres that are involved in this. That's what changes, but when it comes down to it, it is cultural. If you come to a situation where you enter a certain area and there's a group of people, and in their culture, they don't use a certain resource that's in that area, and then this other group comes in and says, hey, we can actually use that resource. Can we access it? And then it comes to a point where they're like, okay, yeah, we'll just have an agreement and you can access this and maybe you trade this with what we can get from you guys that we value. And then it's okay. There's no war. But if you have cultures that use both those things in same ways or different ways, one culture is using this thing and then the other culture is like, hey, that's supposed to be preserved. That's not something you're supposed to use. It's actually something holy. And then people are like, oh, no, wait, it's just something we use in this kind of way. And then now there's a disagreement and they say, okay, now we have to come and stop you from using this. Now that turns into a hot war. That could turn into a war with bullets and swords and things like that, people dying and people dying with their physical bodies in that kind of sense. And that actually turns out to another war, but I think it's based on the culture to begin with. Now I've been blogging for a while. I think I've been blogging back since 2008 on a semi-regular basis. And I was just talking about just general issues, just passing pop issues. Occasionally I talk about politics, be in and out. But then what got me to actually start this YouTube channel, make videos, and try to communicate more and further was following Donald J. Trump, his election to become the 45th President of the United States of America. My main support for him back then, because it's still my main support for him, is his ability to tear down the people who are controlling narratives and things like that. Let certain topics actually be discussed. Because I think when certain things are main taboo for so long, the tensions build up to a point where you can actually get down to that kind of point of disagreement and getting out there and losing actual lives. Now, when battles are being fought with memes and in the arena of ideas and the marketplace of ideas in that sense, I think we can hash out some of these problems before it gets to that point where there's a misunderstanding to the point where people actually die. Now, there's people on both ends of the spectrum, on the political spectrum, on both of these sides who are saying, oh, we're actually going to get out there to civil wars, literal wars. And I'm like, how do you actually see that coming? And if that is something you see that's happening, what are you doing in your personal life to avoid it coming to that? How much do you know about your culture and why you do certain things? And how much do you know about other people's cultures and why they do certain things? How much can you communicate about these things? How much can you understand? How much do you actually make a case for why you think what you do is positive is actually positive? How much do you actually go out there to try and communicate with other people and understand where those people are coming from and if you can change what they're doing? Then you can get to understand, okay, is this a core thing about that person? Is it about just miscommunication with this person? Can I change the way they think about this, or do I need to change the way I think about this and become a little more flexible and get to the same understanding? Because I do think when it comes down to it, we are human beings. We all value life in a certain way. We all are living here on this earth, this tiny blue pale dot. And the bad news about that is it's a tiny place, it's a small place. But the good news about that is there's more than enough room for all of us, even though we are living on such a limited amounts of space on this globe, because most of it is water and we can't live in water, places are frozen, but we're adjusting to that. But in general, there's space for all of us, and we are the same species. We've developed different cultures. There are certain aspects of cultures that might be antithetical to others, and I do not think this is a cultural relativity thing. There are certain things that are better than other ways when it comes to human flourishing that I think we need to make better cases for. We need to talk about it more. We need to discuss more. We need to make the case from it. And we need to also be able to identify the negative things and cut them out. And in some cases, it's like, hey, this can be saved. Maybe we just have to give some medication to this kind of a cultural idea and this can be saved. Sometimes, like, oh, we might need to amputate that. And sometimes you just like, look, this is a terminal case and this is a terminal culture and it's going to end. We maybe might need to quarantine it until it's actually out of the system. But I think we should keep this to the realm of ideas as much as possible and fight it on this playing field before things get worse, because they can get worse, they have been worse, and they are worse in certain places in the world. So if you are in a place where you can talk, then do talk. Do talk to your friends. Try to share certain ideas. Engage with people. Support people that are talking. If you don't feel you're in a place where you can talk, yeah, go out and find the people that are talking. Maybe just give a comment, give some kind of support to them. Like, hey, we hear you. We're glad that you're doing this. It's actually appreciated. I've appreciated other people deciding to talk, and then I started talking to them about them talking, and they said they appreciated it, and I have personally appreciated when other people have come in and said, hey, and engaged in these kind of conversations. And anyway, that's it for now. Like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.